Welcome back to the next in my series of videos on the long-term effects of bullying and how it can affect you and others years or even decades after you left the bullying behind. The last video I had turned the corner into the second section of the book where I talk about 4 personas that manifest themselves in the lives of those who were bullied, the victims, as adults. And I talked about the first one, the underachiever and the overachiever. This time I want to talk about the next 2, the people pleaser and the punisher. Again, this is a series that is tied to my upcoming book. Names Will Hurt Me, Healing for Victims of Bullying. I'm only able to hit the highlights during these videos. The book goes into much more detail. But let's talk a little bit about these. First of all, the people pleaser. The people pleaser lacks balance. The people pleaser doesn't feel like he or she is worthy of love or acceptance because they were told by the bullies they weren't in one way or another, whether it was names or outright statements or physical abuse. The bullies basically instilled in you a low self-esteem. They knocked your self-esteem down to the point that you really, a part of you doesn't feel like you're worthy of love or worthy of friendship because they beat that into you one way or another. And because of that low self-esteem, you're seeking love, you're seeking validation. And when you do things for others, you do favors for a person or maybe a nonprofit organization or whatever the case may be, you do a favor for someone and they tell you how wonderful you are and they give you those pats on the back and you get those feel-good feelings. And those are natural and they're actually very healthy, that when you do something for someone without any reward or payment, that you're going to feel good. That's natural. But for the people pleaser, the reasons for doing it are wrong. Instead of doing it just because you want to help someone, you're doing it because you desperately need that validation. You need them to tell you how wonderful you are because inside you don't feel like you're wonderful. You don't feel like you're worthy. And you probably lack one word, a very powerful little word, no. Trust me, it's a very powerful word. It didn't exist in my vocabulary when I was younger. As a young adult, I bounced back and forth between both of these that I'm going to talk about this time. I made myself physically ill because I took on so many projects because I couldn't say no to anyone. If I did, they might not like me. Unfortunately, that's the issue, is you want people to like you and you don't feel like they'll like you if you don't do things for them, so you don't say no to anything. And you're constantly in danger of burnout. You can get yourself so physically exhausted that you get ill or emotionally just exhausted. And then you can't enjoy life because you're constantly working on something for someone else instead of trying to create your own life. And again, there needs to be balance. Yes, you need to work on what's important to you, but you also really do want to help others. Helping others is a wonderful thing, and it helps boost your overall happiness level. Research has proven that. But it's got to be for the right reasons. You need balance. Again, I've lived this. I was like a crack addict. I needed my next fix. I had to go help somebody else and get them to tell me how wonderful I was because I sure didn't feel that way. But as someone who's moved past that, I can tell you how much of a difference it is when you like the person you are inside. And then you go help others because you want to help them, not because you need it for them to tell you you're wonderful. I now pick and choose because I only have 24 hours in a day. And not only does picking and choosing and saying no to some things that are requests that come towards me healthy for me, it means that I can give my all instead of being spread so thin that I can only give a little bit of my talent to a whole bunch of people. I pick and choose, and I'm able to really give my full effort to those projects I do take on and do a better job. It's just the motivation behind it is much different. Now, I also want to move on to the punisher. Where the first three, the underachiever, the overachiever, and the people pleaser, were all related to the low self-esteem from the bullying, the punisher is directly related to the anger. It's only natural that you're going to have anger towards the bullies. After all, they physically and or verbally abused you. They called you names. They made you feel like you were nothing, like you were worthless. They damaged your self-esteem. Because of them, you might still be struggling with anger and depression and anxiety. Those things I talked about in the first video. Yeah, it's natural for you to have some anger towards them, but unfortunately, you probably also have some anger towards yourself. This is pretty common. Maybe you're angry with yourself because you didn't find a way to stop it, and you think you should have been able to stop it. Or you're angry with yourself because a part of you believed what they told you. Maybe you were a little heavy or overweight, and they told you you were fat. So you reasoned that if you weren't overweight, they wouldn't have had a reason to pick on you. Or in my case, they called me wimp and several other names, basically because I was really small and skinny, and I felt like if I were bigger and stronger and faster, maybe I could have fought back and I could have stopped it. But I would, like many of you, I wasn't just facing one person. I was facing a whole group of bullies. You can only fight one person at a time. So it's natural that you have anger towards the bullies and probably some internalized anger. And that anger doesn't go away. It just gets nursed. And then when you end up in a confrontation with someone, it bubbles up and suddenly you just explode on them far beyond what the situation calls for. This can cause you to lose friendships. It can cause you to lose romantic relationships. It can cause you to lose jobs. If you look back at your history, at your past, you might see a string of broken relationships that looks like some kid took a model train and just tossed them around like toys. The damage is horrific, and it can add up. And the problem is then every time you end up in one of these confrontations, and let's say you lose a friendship, instead of realizing that your anger caused it, you have a tendency to then just be angry over that broken relationship, and then you add that to the anger that's already there, and it just continues to grow. Eventually, that can become bitterness. It can get to the point that it's like wearing a pair of glasses that are distorted. You see the world through these distorted glasses, and you feel like everyone is a potential enemy. You complain constantly. Nothing is good in the world. Everything's horrible. And it can really change your attitude to the point that you are not a fun person to be around, and nobody does want to be around you. And can cause you to be alone with your anger. It's not a good place to be. I know because I've been there. And the other thing is that anger can then be like a shield. In fact, I used to use my anger like a shield. I would hurt people before they had a chance to hurt me. That was my idea, that nobody's ever going to hurt me again, so I'm going to put this anger out there. Nobody can get past it. Since they can't get past it, I don't get hurt. But the problem is just that nobody could get past that wall, so nobody could get to the real me. All they dealt with was the anger. They didn't get to know me. I lost so many friendships and was so lonely during that time. And I bounced back and forth between trying to be nice to everybody and be a people pleaser so that people would pat me on the back, and then things would happen where I wouldn't be able to finish deadlines, and I would lose friendships, and then I would turn towards the anger, and it was a really nasty cycle with no balance. And now that I've healed and I've gone past all this, I still sometimes deal with anger beyond the situation. There's still little chunks of this that I know I haven't completely dealt with. Yeah, I've dealt with the vast majority of the anger, and it's no longer causing me problems. But there's sometimes that I'll still feel like I need to react beyond the situation. I feel something bubbling up inside that's beyond what the situation or the conflict calls for. But now I know how to watch for it. I know to sense it, and I put a stop to it. I deal with the situation at the moment, and then when I'm alone, I get a chance to really think, where did that anger come from? And I deal with it. And I'm telling you, you can deal with it. You can move beyond it. You can move beyond having to please everyone or push everyone away. You can have balance. You can have friendships. You can have love. You can have success in your career. You can have all those things. The next video, I'm going to be going away from this section of the book and into the third section of the book, which is concerned with healing. In fact, I called that section of the book a roadmap to the life you desire. We're going to start talking about that roadmap. I can't hit everything in these videos, these short little videos, but we can hit the highlights. I do encourage you. The book comes out in March. I will be posting it on Facebook. I even have a Facebook page called Names Will Never Hurt Me. I have a YouTube channel, again, called Names Will Never Hurt Me. I'm on Twitter. I'm going to be posting those as we get into the videos. There's a website for the book itself that I'm going to be coming out with. I encourage you, if you struggle with these items, with any of these things, to get the book. Will it by itself change your life? Probably not. Usually it takes more than just one thing. But I do guarantee you that it will help you in your journey. It will help you in your healing. It will give you tools to help you to get past what happened to you, to get beyond the bullying. You may need more help than that. You may end up needing counseling. If so, don't be afraid to be vulnerable and go and ask for help. A lot of people have helped me move past what happened. A lot of people have been there for me and helped me to realize that I was destroying my own life and become the person I am now. And I spend a lot of my time now helping others, but it's out of the right reasons. And I love helping others. You can have the life you desire. You can be loved. You can have friendships that are strong. And you deserve it. So thank you for watching this video. Join me on the next one as we begin talking about that journey to healing and to success.